Alex and I had a relationship with Chris White, professional relationship. He sort of brought us in because he was a fan of our movie The Signal.
We knew we wanted to do something with the title of My Super Sweet 16 in a horror context. I was working closely with Chris White to reach out to the appropriate talent in the horror community because we knew we wanted to subvert people's expectations. We wanted to get amazing filmmakers involved, so that's where Alex and Jacob came in.
We always say it's like a John Hughes movie that gets attacked by a John Carpenter movie. Like Pretty in Pink got attacked by Halloween, but I feel like if you took the horror out of it, it would still have a compelling, engaging story.
I feel like I personally relate a lot to Sky because she's almost exactly like me, especially in high school. I was that kid that just kind of sat around and just drew morbid pictures and had maybe one close friend.
Remember the drawings in the movie? All those drawings. Yeah, she did those.
When you watch My Super Sweet 16, those girls, you just like, those are the girls that made you miserable all through high school. So we got to kind of to delve into these characters that were so relatable, and also, you know, we got to do things with them we weren't able to do in our regular lives. So I thought it was great and fun.
I think a lot of high school kids can really relate to this movie. I mean, it has every kind of person.
Ultimately, we tried to use music that really forwarded the narrative, and also try to discover and sort of give exposure to bands that are like exciting bands that people haven't heard of. Alex and I have relationships with lots of musicians, and we sort of cull together like stuff that they're willing to possibly let us use, and if it fits in the story. And then MTV is really good about just giving us lots and lots and lots of choices. And it's a culling down process of going, okay, this kind of feels like, and I start the process like actually in pre-production, actually even before pre-production, and then while we're shooting, I'm listening to all the music and trying to figure out where maybe, oh, I really like this song, I wonder if it could go in this section, or maybe this little beat would be perfect for that moment where Sky turns to Alex, you know. So it's really just about telling the story through the music. Standards and practices, who are the people who basically are, I don't want to say censors, but they basically tell you what the sponsors are comfortable with in terms of content.
To MTV's credit, though, they're definitely pushing the envelope in terms of horror and what you can get away with, because you know, you always hear the thing like the first cut that you turn in, you should go as extreme as possible because you know they're going to make you pull back, and we were kind of waiting for them to pull back, and they're like, no, it's fine. Like, you sure? Like, yeah. I'm like, all that blood, no problem. All our decisions are rooted in the theme and what's it about, but then, you know, we want to make sure that it's sexy and it's big and it's violent and it's a roller coaster.
Obviously, if you've seen the first movie and you're familiar with the work of Brian De Palma, that's obviously a big influence. And any sort of directors or movies that have these set pieces, you know, with the horror, especially trying to build suspense, you know, a lot of people are focused on the actual kill, but I feel like the lead up to the kill is just as important, if not more so. And then in terms of the character development, you know, the list of influences go all over the map. But for this one, in the first one, the killer was, even though we got to see him and we got to see the genesis of him, he basically remained behind a mask and in this like king outfit, and it was kind of like a classic, you know, very, very like iconic slasher in the truest sense, almost sort of a satire of the slasher. Mm-hmm. But in this one, we were like, we can't really do that again. So what we're really excited about, and we hope that you guys like, is that we tried to get him out of that costume and basically make him scarier in more of a Cape Fear kind of way. More like Robert De Niro in Cape Fear, or where you actually get to, it's the fact that he's like walking amongst people, mm-hmm. and he's the guy next door and you don't know, you know what I mean? So, and that hopefully creates some really scary moments with the other characters, but also it gives us a chance to have, you know, a little bit more character development and have the overarching story actually be connected, because ultimately the movie is about, you know, Lauren's character sort of trying to find belonging after, you know, sort of living in the shadow of her father being a serial killer her whole life, and trying to kill all her friends, and trying to just find where she fits in. And I think that having him be more of a real threat, like a real person, you know, in this one, I think we raised the stakes on it a little bit.